Some causes of juvenile delinquency.
Causes, you said?
Go.
Poverty, neglect, peer pressure, drugs, alcohol, and irresponsible parents.
Parenting, social media, television, home environment, mental disabilities.
Both of y'all get a point. Those are all good. And the answer normally is poor attendance. Like they can either, the teachers will be doing bad teaching so students lose interest and they just want to skip. Violence in the home, peer pressure, your socioeconomic factors as well, and then substance abuse and no moral guidance. And I'm supposed to tell y'all, with poor attendance, when they're not encouraged to want to go to school, they just decide, if I don't feel like doing it, what is it going to benefit myself? So might as well just not even go. And so in class, we learned the labeling theory, which a teacher could be telling a student, I don't know if you're going to pass this semester, you need to work harder, or you're not going to pass, or you're failing again, and not be real motivational about it. And then, so that's the labeling theory. So those students will start to believe that they don't belong in the classroom, they're not smart enough to succeed. And I'm not as smart as the AP kids, and then the IB. AP feel dumber than the IB, so that doesn't go so well. And then the conflict theory, it's kind of like, it views social and economic institutions as tools of struggle between groups and classes, like how I did the AP, IB, and it shows inequality. So like the IB feel like they're the smartest out of the whole school, so they feel like they're more dominant of the school. So that's how like the regular kids feel like they don't belong in school. That's why most of them drop out. And then the violence in the home, the same thing with the labeling theory, is they'll physically abuse their children or tell them, oh, you're stupid, or you're ugly, or stuff like that, you know, just parents being real negative to their kids, so they'll either run away, and then they live on the streets, and then they cause crime. The socioeconomic factors is many students will, the lower class mainly commits crime because they feel as though they have to provide for the family as teenagers if they're struggling, so they may either rob a bank, a store, or like anything that their family needs at that time. And then that's the differential opportunity structure that I've learned, and that's like the lower class feel as if they don't have the equal opportunity as upper class, which they don't. So they feel as though they're dumber, they'll never succeed. So that's where they feel as though they don't have as many. And then substance abuse, it also creates, it's this thing called differential association, is when you learn from your parents. So like if your parents didn't graduate from high school, you feel as though you don't have to graduate from high school. If your parents don't have a good job, then you feel as though you don't have to have a good job, because it doesn't really matter. And then no moral guidance, that leads to neglect, child abuse, and also the differential association. It can just lead on from, well, my parents abused me, so I'm going to abuse my children too. How will violence in the home lead to delinquent acts?
Leads to bullying, drug abuse, they don't feel loved, they feel like nobody cares about them, they're just going to mistreat everybody and everything that's around them, because they're getting treated that way. And some people just grow up thinking that is the way to treat people, because that's how they were raised. That's it. That's all I got.
Mom?
Poor self-esteem. A lot of kids that are brought up in a violent home, they have poor self-esteem because they feel like they're not worth anything because they get hit on, or you know, the parents, whatever, they hit them, and then I think a kid that would go through something like that wouldn't have no plans for the future because they're in the survival mode, just to survive that day or whatever that's going on. They're not planning. They can't even think beyond today because they just to survive for today. They can plan for the future. And they don't want to go home, so then they end up on the streets, drugs, alcohol, gangs, because they don't want to be there at the house.
You.
Negative peer pressure, where you've got to belong, because we're going to go smoke pot and everything, and if you don't do that, then you're not the cool kid, you don't belong. So that's a negative peer pressure. So I think it can work both ways, but the peer pressure, I think, is the biggest thing is a feeling of belonging, that the pressure there is you want to feel belong and wanted in a group.
I just put that they want to fit in. They'll do anything, whether it's right or wrong, to fit in. Like your mom said, there's a negative and a positive of peer pressure. And you just want to feel worthy. Kids nowadays, they just want to feel worthy of themselves. That they are worth something, whether it be good or bad. They'll be willing to do anything to fit in.
Socioeconomic status affect a juvenile's behavior. Like the upper class, lower class, middle class. So whatever class they're in, how can that affect them doing delinquent behaviors?
This one is just really, I broke it up into three: poor, middle class, and rich. And unfortunately, if you're poor, you can still get drugs. If you're middle class, you can still get drugs. If you're rich in the high class, you still get drugs and alcohol. So I don't really think that it matters whether you're poor, middle, or rich. As far as drugs and alcohol, the poor can get it just as well as the rich. The only difference, the rich don't have to steal and rob places to get it.
Stella?
Yeah, same thing, because pretty much what was the same thing I was going to say, because it's all the same. No matter whether you're rich or poor or middle class.
Again?
What factors increase the likelihood of juveniles doing socially unacceptable acts?
Pressure, because they want to belong, so that's another factor that makes them want to belong. So whether it's drugs that they want to belong in with that group.
Just to do it. I don't know. She just did it just to do it. Because why not? It was there. Let's party.
Mine, I have family, peers, school, community, and social media. So like family, when parents become depressed or angry with either one another in a relationship and have increased conflict, the result is often a harsh, inconsistent parenting or withdrawal. So for the juvenile, they develop, it means it increases risky behavior and less development of sorts of
Competencies?
Yes, that protect them from those risks. So if you don't have a stable family, a stable parent guiding you where you're supposed to go, then you kind of just lose track of everything. And then for peers, obviously, you know, they just try and influence you to do bad behaviors depending on the group you hang out with. And then schools, it breaks down to peer pressure as well. And then if teachers apply pointless rules to students, then applying those pointless rules, students feel as though they want to break those more. So like the whole thing at our school, it's a 15-minute rule. As soon as the bell rings and you're in the classroom and you ask to go to the bathroom, you have to wait 15 minutes to go to the restroom. So that's unreasonable. So students are either just going to skip that class, either they have to pee or they're going to be late, and then that's caused a truancy. What do you think being involved in a gang will do to juveniles, and why do juveniles join? So what can a gang do for a kid, and why do kids join? So I have a minute.
Peer pressure. Some kids join because they have no family. They do have family, but family is not going good at home. And there's no good, I don't know, what's the word?
Structure, family.
Yeah, so they feel like that'll be the family that they're missing. And some join because friends are joining, and then they they do it for backup. Like they want people to be afraid of them. Nobody wants to be bullied, and so if I join this gang, nobody's gonna be bullying me now. Cause they'll be scared of me. That's basically it, really. That's all I put.
That's kind of what I put too. Provides a feeling of family belonging, and that's what the whole gang does, because they'll say, oh, we got your back on whatever you do. And the only bad thing about that, if you ever decide and grow out of it, it's hard to get out of the